Wonderful. Good morning and happy Tuesday to everybody out there. This is Dirk live from the primexbt.com Training Academy studio with this week's first episode of That Crypto Show. And it's already also the last episode for August. Time is running crazily fast. My name is Dirk Hartig. I'm the head of training education here at primexbt.com, and I also have the pleasure of being your host today here at That Crypto Show. We want to talk today a little bit about Bitcoin, obviously, about Bitcoin trading. We want to have a look on at where probably we are going to be heading this week in Bitcoin, where the price is heading, how we possibly could profit from the movements that are up ahead, how to place trades, and so on and so forth. For this, we are not only going to look at the Bitcoin chart, we also want to look obviously again at the sentiment. Those of you who have watched the show for a number of times already know I'm a sentiment trader. I like the current sentiment of the cryptocurrency market, especially Bitcoin, which I prefer trading because it's so liquid, is like a big underlying of all of my trading strategies, or most of my trading strategies. So we are going to look at the sentiment, and we also want to have a look at the latest Glassnode on-chain report to see if the fundamental data in there from the Bitcoin blockchain is backing up or contracting what we are analyzing in terms of the movements, the price movements ahead to expect. Before we start, as always, this webinar is brought to you and provided by the primexbt.com research team. This is educational content. This is not financial advice. Our goal here is to give you insights into the mind of professional traders and institutional traders, so you can make your own better informed trading decisions and have your game plan ready. So not just blindly copy everything. We want to bring you to a level where you yourself can also call yourself a professional trader. And it's not as hard with nowadays technology as one would expect. Okay. So let's have a look at the Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index first. Nothing has changed very really. We are oscillating in the 70s for the fear and greed. So we are in the area of greed. The overall sentiment is very positive for Bitcoin. So you would usually see in a sentiment like this bigger reactions to the upside. That is pretty much true. Although last week we also saw some pretty large red candles, one of them yesterday on a Sunday, that brought us down from the area of around about 49,000 to 47,000. Today in the early morning session, European session, that is, we are seeing a bit of recovery. And what I've circled here, and you probably saw this also on our Twitter account yesterday, where we chose to broadcast this chart. By the way, if you're not following us on Twitter, please do so under @px_academy to always be updated about the things that are to come. And what we are seeing is a typical consolidation pattern. And back then I expected this pattern actually to take place already in the zone around 42 to 46,000, but Bitcoin chose to recapture this 200-day moving average. This is the purple line you see here on the chart. And at the moment we are staying above this average. So last week we tried to test it like 2 times to be precise, on the 26th and 27th of August. But it was rejected. Back then I said, in my opinion, those are pretty solid, backed up areas where we encounter a good level of demand out there, people willing to buy Bitcoin again at those prices. And I was right. I also said back then that I don't see the likelihood of us rising about 50,000 very high. So all right, I think we are back again. I hope so, at least. Hold on. Sorry, guys, there was a bit of a technical problem here. My laptop chose to freeze on me. So, but here we are again. Great. Turn down the volume a little bit here. Is that correct? Yeah. Okay. Everything seems to be all right again. So I don't know how much you you actually heard from what I was just saying. So yeah, we have a sentiment of, and this needs to reload, of course, now too. Everything, here we go, great. So we are in a sentiment of greed at the moment, meaning the market is still expecting Bitcoin to trend higher. And yeah, last week I said that I'm seeing down here at the purple line, which is the 200-day moving average, a good area of support that I can see people start buying around this area again. And I said, for me personally, this is also the area where I look for entries at the moment again. So slightly above, slightly below that area. And it seems like this is a very solid support. On the other hand, this area up here around 50,000, let me just quickly mark this one. So the area here around 50,000 is a pretty solid resistance zone. So we're really trapped at the moment between round about 46,000 on the lower side, round about 50,000 on the upper side. And as I said, let's have a look at the latest Glassnode report, because you know, in my opinion, it's important to rely when you're trading, especially if you are looking for longer term trades, if you want to hold your position maybe for a couple of days or a couple of weeks, because you want to really utilize this bull run we are currently in. It's very important to back your opinion up also by data and not just by charts. Charts are always just one variable of the equation, so to say. So, and yeah, for that I always like to have a look at the Glassnode report, which always comes out on Monday. So it came out yesterday evening. And Glassnode is a company, they do analysis of the Bitcoin blockchain to determine where the price might be heading in the future. And this has become a very huge tool, and a lot of things you can do with this, but there's really, in my opinion, especially at the beginning, no need to do all the analysis yourself. So if you read this report, you will already get a pretty good overview on what is going on, how are other market participants in Bitcoin at the moment behaving. And they are actually saying what I just said. Yeah, we have entered a price consolidation this week, largely hanging on to the impressive gains since the bottom set in July. So we've come up from around about 30,000 all the way to 50,000. So this was a move of more than 50%. This is pretty impressive run. And excuse me. So prices at the moment are trading between roughly 46,500 and roughly 50,500. So pretty much in line with what I just said. And now comes the interesting part, in my opinion. And they want to look here at what they call the big picture position of the Bitcoin market following a month of very strong price performance. And for that, they have determined three zones. This is first the area between 31,000 US dollars and 40,000, the area between 45 and 50,000. So that's the area we are in currently, and the area between roughly 54,000 and 59,000. And what they do here, they can show you where the current Bitcoin coin supply was last transacted. And since we broke north of 50,000, at the last all-time high at 20,000, we have developed three zones. So the first zone is between 31 and 40,000. In this zone, out of the roughly 80 million available Bitcoins, roughly 3 million Bitcoins were accumulated in January 2021, and in this last 2.5 month long consolidation phase. You remember that was here where we had this, I think it was like around about 80 days of prices moving between 40,000 and 30,000 on the downside. So this, since the coins were accumulated there, it's safe to say that the people that accumulated the coins there are probably not going to sell them around this area. So the likelihood of buyers entering the scene is quite high at these prices. So keep this in the back of your head. So the area between 31,000 and 40,000, according to Glassnode, is an area of very strong support. Then we have the area where we are in at the moment, the current range, at which 1.65 million Bitcoin were accumulated. And so, and also here, it's very likely that this area is a strong support. And this goes very much in line with what I've read out there from other on-chain analysts, from other people that solely rely also on technical analysis. They all, or most of them, have one thing in common. They expect higher prices still this year. And they say the area of around about 45,000, some say down to 42,000, acts as a very solid support where people are very likely to start buying coins again. And this is very much in line also with the behavior of the market we saw last week. So we had the attack of the 200-day average here on the, what was the 26th and 27th of August, as mentioned before. Excuse me, it turned out to be very solid. So once we approach this area of 46,000, and this is also the area where this 200-day moving average is at the moment, we saw buying activity again in the market. And yesterday, when we saw prices coming down, this was a bit higher, and this actually was also the area where things stopped and the market turned around a little bit. So seems like we have really a good foundation of support, not just from the chart, from this 200-day moving average, but also from what we see directly from the data on the blockchain. Now, what becomes very interesting now is this area between roughly 54,000 US dollars and 59,000 US dollars. In this area, we saw 1.33 million coins that were accumulated. And so those were accumulated between March and May, when we pretty much and very fast back then entered this crazy bull phase with the market highs here around 64 and 65,000, 64,500, I believe was the all-time high. And this at the moment, of course, is not an area of support. This acts as an area of resistance, because what you can expect is once we enter this area between roughly, let's say, 53,500 US dollars and 59,000 US dollars, you will very likely see some of those people that bought the coins for this prices and held on to them. They didn't panic sell when we slumped down to 30,000. So they held onto those coins. Maybe they still believed like, okay, the price is going to recover, but we will probably see some profit taking, or we will see some selling pressure in this area once those coin, come to the break-even point, or maybe are a little bit in profit because people want to get out of the position. Maybe you've done this before when you bought a stock or something, when the price went down, and once it recovered to your buying price, you kind of choose to, okay, I want to sell, I want to get rid. I don't want to go through the emotional pain of this position anymore. Emotional pain, this is also a very large part of sentiment trading, obviously. Yeah? What emotion is connected to my position? In the best case, there should never be emotion connected to your trading position. You should always have your position based on fundamentals or on technicals if you are more a technical trader. But yeah, so these are the three areas, and this is also what we said. I see for this week it becoming very difficult. I don't see something that Bitcoin usually likes to do. And what Bitcoin usually likes to do is have suddenly a big green candle or a couple of big green candles with a lot of demand coming in, people starting to buy coins like crazy, like it's a Black Friday and all the electronics in your local electronic shops are 50% off. And this would be indicated again here with what we saw down here, where we had this really volatility squeeze, I called it back then, indicated by the Bollinger Bands going making a move like a scissor, going, you see the upper Bollinger Band going northwards, the lower Bollinger Bands going southwards. So this is a typical volatility squeeze. And in my opinion, and I don't see that happening at the moment. So for the next days, I personally expect that we are going to continue to move between this band of, let's say, roughly 46 and a half thousand, and on the upper side, something between 49 and 50,000, with the market being really indecisive how to continue. And I know this is for a lot of traders out there a very boring setup. Obviously, we always want to have volatility. We want to have those huge swing days to trade them up and down and up and down. But in the long run, this is something good for Bitcoin because it shows that even after a bull run of over 50%, we can have a consolidation at a high level. And it just takes like one piece of very, very good news out there to make it, squeeze again to the upper side and attack those levels between 54 and 59,000 that act as an area of resistance. And on the other hand, always a possibility, of course, is also that we make a move to the downside because of some bad news. But at the moment, the market is good in swallowing up bad news. For example, last week we had again the news that China is cracking down on Bitcoin even more. And not only on the mining now, but I believe also now on people that are just holding Bitcoin because they don't want any competition for their own central bank digital currency, the digital yuan. And this was completely ignored by the market. So this is typical something you will see in the sentiment of greed. The market ignores bad news. And on the contrary, then, if you have good news, you will see those upswings north. So what we need at the moment really is maybe some good news that will help us to go above 50,000 and start attacking those all-time highs again. For the moment, going sideways in this range is something good because it allows the accumulation of buying power again, as long as we don't break out to the north side. So personally, my positioning for my more long-term positions would be really to search for entries somewhere in this area between 46 and 47,000 US dollars. To hold those coins long term in the anticipation that we are going to eventually attack the all-time highs this year and maybe break them even to the north, like a lot of those popular models out there are stating we will. If I still want to wait because I'm not sure if I should enter the market now long or short, I again could also work with a stop buy or stop sell order again. So that would allow me to really wait for this volatility squeeze happening. And I could do this by, for example, let's use the highlighter here by saying, okay, once we break with enough momentum through the 50,000, I want to start buying here at around about 52 or 53,000. On the other hand, if we break with enough momentum on the downside, I want to sell down here at, let's say, 43,000. So this is just an example. So for this, you could use a stop buy order. You start buying once the price reaches this point up here, or you start selling once the price reaches the point down here. So this is a very valid tactic to play with price momentum, to wait until price has done something that confirms you that a new trend or trend continuation is establishing itself. Yeah, that's all for today already. And if you would like to get in touch with us, you can do so by email, obviously, under academy@primexpt.com. We would love to hear from you. Maybe you have some questions. Maybe you want another asset to be analyzed. So be our guest, drop us a mail. Follow us on Twitter also, as already said, under @px_academy. And also be sure to claim your 50% deposit bonus, and you can do so by entering the section margin account on your Prime XBT trading account. And here you enter the promo code Trading Academy, all in capital letters, activate it, and then you'll get a 50% deposit bonus on all deposits you make, I think until October, that is. So this is pretty nifty and pretty nice to get some extra margin for trading. And we would also love to hear from you. If you're watching this on YouTube later, leave us a comment, leave us a like. Always very important for the YouTube algorithm. Leave us a comment on what you are expecting from Bitcoin in the near future. Are you expecting higher prices maybe this week or the upcoming week? Or are you expecting that this is a bull trap and we are going to see lower prices into the low 40s or maybe even into the low 30s again? Leave us a comment. Would absolutely love to hear from you. We are going to see each other again live tomorrow at 10 a.m. CET. Until then, please stay safe and always use the stop loss and take profit. Bye bye.